Wendy Emerson coming to you from Canandaigua Motorsports Park, and I'm with Alysha Ruggles, who, as many of you probably know, was caught up in a wreck here on Tuesday night, July 16th. How are you doing, Alysha?
I'm doing as good as I can be.
Tell us from your perspective, your recollection of what happened on Tuesday night.
Just a racing accident. No one's fault. We started a restart, and everything happened from there. It happened so quick. Can't really relate to everything.
But you tried to pull off actually into the infield, and that's when you got caught up. Is that correct?
I tried to escape the wreck, but couldn't see with all the dust and everything, and unfortunately hit the wall and sent me airborne. And
you left not in the ambulance, I believe. You went home thinking you were going to be okay, and then ended up going to the hospital?
They wanted me to get transported from here there, but came in the pits and talked to all the crew and everything, and decided it was the best bet to go there. So a couple of the crew guys brought me to the hospital, and bad news from there.
So what did the doctors tell you?
I broke my back, and I have 12 weeks in a brace, so I'm doing the best I could.
But they think you might be back in a race car next year, right?
Yeah.
You've had a lot of support and a lot of people praying for you and a lot of people rooting for you. Is there anything you want to say to them?
Just thank you, everyone that has supported me. It's definitely a tough time, but I'm going to get through it.
You are going to get through. You're a strong girl. You got a lot of support and a lot of people that love you. Alysha Ruggles, we're going to see her hopefully back here next year at Canandaigua Motorsports Park, and we're pulling for her. And we did talk to Alysha. She got a little bit emotional, but we want to talk to Mom and Dad, Wendy and Daryl. How are you guys doing after everything that happened this week?
It's definitely emotional. It's crazy to see her hurting, but if you guys, she's getting better every day.
Tell us a little bit more about her injury. I know we just talked about this off camera. Can you describe to us exactly what happened with her back and what the healing process is going to be like for her?
Well, the doctor explained to us that it burst L2 vertebrae, and just because of it was just a big compression fracture, and it actually burst it, but it burst it in towards the spinal cord, and it's only 1 centimeter away from being on the spine. And if it was that 1 centimeter, like he was trying to explain to us, she was about 1%, 2% away from being paralyzed.
And it's pretty much a miracle that she's even here with us today. We're just so excited about that. But as a mom, I talked to you yesterday on the phone or the day before, and you were hopeful that she'd be back in a car next year. Do you think that's going to happen?
Oh, absolutely. Even the spinal specialist said when we were getting discharged, he said as long as she does everything that she's supposed to do in the next 12 weeks and wears the brace 24/7, she will be back in a sprint car. And the words out of her mouth were, that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
So as a mom and a wife, coming here every week and seeing your husband and daughter get on the track, what is that like for you?
Well, someone asked me that a couple weeks ago, and I said, well, husband and daughter, I get the adrenaline rush, too, of seeing them out there. And, of course, there's the risk of accidents all the time. The Eagle chassis that we have, they're built amazing. Even though we have this injury, it could have been a lot worse. But it's exciting to see them out there. I love it when they run 1 and 2 all the time. It makes me just yell a little bit louder. And I have the nerves, and yeah, I'll be nervous when she gets out there again, but this is what we do. We've been doing this for 34 years, and it wouldn't be our family if we weren't out here.
Well, you're a very strong woman. I know I've talked to you this week. Daryl, last Tuesday when everything kind of happened, what was going through your mind out on the track just as everything kind of got chaotic?
Well, I seen the accident start to develop because I was able to see up the racetrack, and I knew it wasn't going to be good because I seen a car start to go sideways, and so I started my evasive action, tried to get to the inside because I knew that it wasn't going to be good. So I went down and I was able to steer around and just miss a photographer and get around on the inside of the wall and then get down through the grass, and then I was on the backstretch. And I was sitting on the backstretch, and really I just knew that there was a crazy accident because Greg was over the radio was yelling red, red, red. And so I knew it was a pretty intense accident. the first thing in my mind was, did my daughter make it through it? And as I was sitting there in the car, a push vehicle came up, and he started going, "Oh my God, did you see?" And I go, "No, I didn't see it. I just seen it start." I go, "Is my daughter all right?" And he goes, "Who's your daughter?" And I go, "She was in the pink 48A." And how I knew she was in the accident, his words were, "Oh my God, she's the one that they're trying to get out with the paramedics." That's how I knew my daughter was in the wreck. So I immediately climbed out of the car, ran over there, and by the time I had got out of my car and got over there, she was already out of her car, and made eye contact with her, and I knew she was all right, I thought. But as it turned out to be, it ended up to be adrenaline that got her out of the race car with the help of all the Canandaigua paramedics and everybody that was there helping her. And, they did a wonderful job, and the ambulance crew did a great job. And, she wanted me to give her a blessing because she didn't want to go to the hospital. And I says, "I don't know what kind of pain you're in. You've got to make that call." And so she chose not to go, sign off with the ambulance until she stepped out of that ambulance in the pit. And she knew right then that she had problems, and they immediately took her to the hospital. And then they did the CAT scan and knew that she had a very bad broken back. And they had immediately said that she has to go to Strong, for further evaluation. And so they transported her to Strong, and, the Strong specialist all looked at her, and at 6 o'clock in the morning, the one of the number one spinal specialists that was at Strong came, and they evaluated it, and they chose not to do surgery at the time. And they put her in this custom brace, and if she does everything she has to in 12 weeks, he said she can and will get back into a race car.
And she's here tonight, which is really cool. What did you want to say, Wendy?
Well, I just want to say we've got an outpouring of people that are just supportive and are helping her keep her spirits up. And my house looks like a florist shop. There's been flowers and cards and all that, and that's very much appreciated. But we can't forget about the other drivers that were involved in that accident. And I did a post on Facebook and said thoughts and prayers to all of them, because we know Paul Kinney was in Strong with us. As he was getting discharged, he did come over and see Alysha before he left. But there was just so much equipment and so many people that were injured in that accident that, our thoughts and prayers go out to them as well, and hope that, they're healing just as fast as we hope that Alysha's going to heal.
This is definitely a family sport, and Canandaigua Motorsports Park is a family. And I want to ask you one more question. The media thing has been a nightmare this week. It's been not the way your family wants to make national news, of course, but anything you want to say to address the media and talk about the fact that you're not blaming Tony Stewart. It's a racing accident. I would never blame Tony. Tony's just a great competitor. His heart's involved in dirt racing. He is a great... a lot of people love Tony. He's a great racer. And he comes to Canandaigua to support Canandaigua and bring out some new, fans. And unfortunately, it was a racing accident that I think anybody would have done. There was a hole. If anybody watches the videotape on lap 4, the same scenario happened. The hole was a lot wider. Tony tried to make it through it. There was no contact. It was no different. On lap 7 restart, the same scenario happened. The hole was a little smaller. The hole got shorter. And in these cars, if you touch wheels, it's pretty much game over. And unfortunately, Tony seen the hole, and he tried to do what he did, like 3 laps before. And he's no different than anybody in any one of these race cars. I would have done the same. I think I would have hoped my daughter would have tried to. She said she would have done the same. I think she would have tried to do the same. And I don't think anybody in the whole world can look at that video and ever think that Tony was at fault of that. He was just a down hard racing accident. Has got absolutely nothing to do with Tony Stewart. I would never ever hold this against him or anybody, for the cause of that accident, because when we come through that gate, we pretty much, we sign a waiver that we know that we're at risk, and we just love to race. And I hope Tony comes back on August 10th. I know the media is blowing this way out of hand, and they just gotta stop, because every one of us take a risk when we take the green flag, and it's got absolutely nothing to do with anything other than just down hard racing. Well, hopefully we can get some of this out there today and put some of that gossip to rest. So we really appreciate you guys talking to us. We are pulling for Alysha. So happy that she's here tonight. We know that Shane will probably give her lots of shouts out tonight on the PA system as well. So thank you guys so much.
But thank you, and I hope people don't blame Tony for this deal and just keep coming back and support Jeremy with Canandaigua Motorsports.
Thanks, Daryl and Wendy.
Thank you.
Wendy Emerson with the Ruggles from Canandaigua Motorsports Park.